screening.
The resume.
There are tons of exceptionally amazing resources out there to help someone create the perfect outline of their work experience. So when I see an Indeed template as a resume, I'm immediately unforgiving, shaking my head. And maybe that's a bit harsh or biased of me, but there are so many tools out there we've come across to assist someone to thoughtfully craft a resume worth looking at, worth framing even. It's kind of a prerequisite to get noticed.
If they didn't take the time on the resume, don't waste your time forgiving them. Be cutthroat at this stage. Bottom line, resumes are marketing tools. They're used to snag the attention of the HR team or recruiter of the desired company. So they should be crafted with intention and care. Sometimes they can be misleading. A candidate may seem too good to be true on paper, and they just might be. So we've provided some tips here to help take some of the guesswork out and help you hone in on the strongest resumes.
When reviewing any resume, the first thing you always need to do is the once-over test. It's a 10-second review for an up or down vote. Here are some questions you may ask yourself while reviewing in those 10 seconds.
Does this resume speak to me?
Am I interested in just one glance?
Is this a carefully crafted resume?
You're not looking for fine details. You're looking for the presentation and does the skill set align.
In fact, points are deducted in my eyes when I see a standard, run-of-the-mill resume glaring back at me.
A little piece of my soul dies and my eyes roll harder with each new, basic resume I come across.
You shouldn't settle.
Sometimes you have to.
It's true.
Hopefully, you are spoiled with riches and don't ever have to consider those bland resumes.
The next test you should run on our dear friend, the resume, is the fine-tooth comb-over.
This is where we dive deep and typically take 2 to 5 minutes to review the resume in more depth.
Here you'll look for errors and inconsistencies and things that seem false.
Great resumes are carefully crafted for the position on offer.
They're so precise that they should make the HR team or the recruiter want to know more.
Oh, you doubled the amount of sales in a year. I want to know how.
You tripled the company's social media following? That's interesting to me. And I want to understand what that process looked like.
The only way I can do that is to call or interview the candidate. And that's the whole point of the resume.
As far as consistency goes, it's very easy to know when someone has no idea what a detail is or how to pay attention to it. If each and every section of the resume features different bullet points, stars, squiggles, or whatever else to showcase a list, there is no consistency.
I often also look at how long people have stayed in their prior positions.
Longevity in a role is something to pay attention to because it is becoming more common for people to change jobs every few years. It's less the norm to be in a role for 12 to 15 years as it was in the past. People don't often retire from their first job they ever worked, nor should they. Hopefully they've been promoted. Otherwise, that might be a red flag. However, that doesn't exactly mean that finding someone that switched roles every 6 months or so is normal either.
This is something to make note of to ask about in the later interviewing stages. People could work in contract roles, which might have ended after shorter periods of time, or they were immersed in a culture that they didn't believe in and had the courage to move on.
There are many reasons for wanting a change of scenery, but when it happens frequently enough, we all have to wonder if it was the job or the candidate that was causing the problem.
I also consider employment gaps. Did this person have extended periods of time without work? Oftentimes, gaps are in part due to personal situations, whether that's raising a baby, dealing with an ill parent, taking time to explore a new city after a move, or whatever. Noting a gap in a resume should raise a flag. Not necessarily a red one, but maybe a pastel yellow.
Location is also a consideration. Prior to sourcing, decide how you feel about candidates who require relocation. Then screen accordingly. Location can mean the difference between 2 hours on the road daily or 30 minutes. Make sure that they're a comfortable distance from your office.
And if they're not, ask if they're planning to move closer or if they're even aware that the commute will be longer than average.
Some people are comfortable with long drives to work, with hours of traffic and sadness ahead. The reality, though, is most people will burn out after several months of bad drivers and, of course, endless podcasts.
Now that we've reviewed our top reasons for screening out candidates, you've probably got a solid stack of resumes from the people you want to meet with. Great! Now the real fun can begin.